Hi and welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a ringlet for doll's hair. And we'll be making this one on our Addi machines. Now you can use either the 22 pin or the 46 pin. I do have another tutorial that specifically addresses the Sentro machines. So I will link both of the tutorials up. So if you're doing Sentro, you can follow those directions. I mean, they're exactly the same. It's just that the pins are different colors on the Addi. Okay, so what we're going to do is cast on 5 stitches only. So I'm going to the first black pin here, and so that's number 1, and I'm going behind number 2, in front of number 3, behind number 4, in front of number 5. All right. At this point, I'm just going to slide the yarn into the yarn feeder. Now, these are the only 5 stitches we're working with. So the important thing to note when you are knitting a panel, yes guys, you're going to be knitting a panel. This is not a very intimidating way of learning how to do panels. Okay? So this is stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's 5. Now the secret here is to wait until the yarn, when you're cranking, wait until the yarn goes below the bar that's to the left of your last stitch, like so, right there. It just went under. Now we're going to turn around and go in this direction. All right. All right, and the same thing. I'm at my stitch number 1, so on this stitch I need to make sure that the yarn goes under the bar to the right. So you'll see it go right, it's going to go right there. There it goes. It just went under. Once it goes under, we can go back in the other direction. And you're just pretty much going slow your first few rows. If you're going to have problems, it's going to be in the first few rows. I like to give the tail end here just a good tug. Now what usually happens is the last pin, when I'm going back this way, the last pin is the one that usually catches the yarn. And it only does that for 1 or 2 turns, and then it's fine. With the Addi, that is. With my Sentro, it catches a lot. So 1, see, there we go. Now I wanted to do this tutorial with white yarn, just so that you can see it. So right up here, I have the yarn got caught on the hook. So we're just going to push that down. Keep going, because that's the last stitch. We're waiting until it catches under this bar right here. Go back in this direction. Now the first stitch here, it's doing what the last one was doing. So we're just going to tuck it down, just pull at the tail end here. There we go. Slide it down and wait until go under that bar, and there. It just went under the bar. So now I'm going to go back in this direction. And there you go. And see, pin number 5, it straightened itself out. So it's not giving me an issue now. So wait till the yarn goes under that bar, and then we're just going in the other direction. All right. And we just keep going like that. In this direction. Every once in a while, I like to tug on the tail end. Okay. Now don't follow your counter. Because you're going back and forth, the counter is not accurate. So personally, when I'm doing ringlets, I do not count the rows. What I do is I just wait until the tail end, or not the tail end, but the bottom piece right here. until it hits the table and then starts curling under, let's say about 2 inches past the table. That's when I cast off. So I'm just going to do this a little bit here. Okay. And every once in a while, you just may want to count that you do still have 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be easy to crank too far in either direction and actually cast on another stitch. So you could end up with 6 stitches. I mean, that's not too big of an issue. If it's just 6 stitches, just go with it. Okay? And like so. Just back and forth. And what I like to do is I just hold the yarn in this hand. I let the yarn pass through my fingers, and basically I hold with my hands. I just kind of hold the machine down because I don't have it clamped. Okay? So like so. And another thing I wanted to mention is I do not put this onto panel mode. I leave it on tube mode, which is the circular knitting mode. I'm not using all of the pins or 20 of the pins, so I just find it's easier just to go back and forth manually, like so. All right, so I'm going to keep going. Just going to pause this tutorial while I reach the length that I want, and I will show you how to cast off. All right, so I'm back, and I'm just going to do a couple more rows. When it's strung up on the machine here, you can actually see that it is indeed a panel. How cool is that? So now you know how to make a panel, my friend. What you would do is just, for example, if you want to make a 15-stitch panel, you would just do the exact same technique, but increase the amount of stitches and go back and forth. Okay? So I'm just going to do this stitch, and this is going to be my last row right here. So once this yarn clears under the bar, I am going to just take my scissors and cut a piece of the yarn. It doesn't have to be too long, maybe, I don't know, 8 inches or so. All right. So I will grab my needle. I'm going to thread the tail end into the needle, release the yarn guide. Now we have 2 needles here that usually grab the yarn, but they don't create a stitch. So they're basically empty needles. So what we're going to do is you're just going to lift the yarn up. We're just going to make sure that it comes out of, see, that doesn't have a stitch on it. And that one. So now my stitches are here going on over. I'm just going to move the yarn to the middle, and without yarn going through, we're just going to crank. There we go. At this point, we're going to be picking off the stitches. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3. The reason I put my thumb or my finger on the stitch next to it is just so that I don't accidentally pull too hard and the stitch pops off and drops. Because then that's another issue altogether, having to fix your drop stitch. All right, she's going to pull it out. Now, pull it nice and tight till the ends close. And look, you've just made yourself an I-cord as well. So this is a 5-stitch I-cord. Now, if you don't have a machine and you don't want to do make an I-cord to do the ringlets this way, and you have an I-cord maker, by all means, go ahead and use your I-cord maker. You would knit it about the same length, and the same technique applies. I just personally prefer doing my I-cords on my machines because, one, I find it easier. My I-cord maker, it doesn't take most yarns at all. And when you're using your Addi, you can actually use the thicker yarns. And this is a a worsted yarn, and it's a 4. And this would never pass through my Addi egg, the I-cord maker. So if I were to pull it out now and just look at it, okay, so it's about 12 inches. I usually aim for somewhere between 11 to 13 inches. And that's without counting rows, without measuring. Like I said, I just wait till it kind of hits the bottom and it starts to curl that way. And then once it curls yay amount, then I just start casting off. All right, so I'm just going to take one of these ends here and I'm going to cut it down so that it's only a couple inches long. Now we're going to, I am right-handed. So because I'm right-handed, I will be gripping the end with the long cord, with the long tail end. I'm gripping it with my left hand, and I will be twirling with my right. Now, if you were left-handed, you would want to grip it with your right hand and twirl with your left. Got that? So I'm right-handed, and I managed to drop it enough times with my right hand without challenging myself with the left hand. Okay, so I'm holding it, and I've got a little death grip going here. I'm holding on tight. And I'm just going to start twisting it, twirling. I don't count, but you know what? Why don't we go ahead and count? Maybe 25 to 30 twirls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And you see what I'm doing? My fingers are slowly working their way down towards this end here. Hang on tight. If you drop this end, you're going to have to start over. Okay, so I'm at 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, let's say I got about 25 here. Going to join the two ends together. Going to hold tight. Going to pull this like so. And when I let it go, look at that. You've just made yourself a ringlet. And we're going to take these two ends. And the reason I cut this one down is just so it doesn't drive me nuts. When I first started doing this, I was leaving it longer and it was just wrapping around my finger and cutting off my blood supply. So it's just easier this way. Okay, and because the tail end here is too short for my needle, I just kind of slide the needle in, kind of go like that, and then I thread the tail end in, and I'm just going to pull it through a little, and I'm hiding this end. And there we go. Now we have done this part. Now for those of you that are following this particular pattern with me, I am going to pause this now and I will be back to show you how to sew these on to your doll, the doll that we're currently making for the Etsy pattern.